Hello, everyone. Welcome to my office. It's a little chaotic in here, but that's okay. We make do with what we have. I really have been wanting to talk about the books that I've read so far this year, and I have read 65 of them, so quite a few, and it makes it a little bit difficult to find a way to discuss them. However, I thought that I would make a tier list today to kind of break down what I've read and what I liked about them and maybe what I didn't like about them. I am not going to talk too in depth just because there's so many to get through, but I'm going to talk about them briefly and kind of discuss them a little bit and talk about what's worth your time and what might not be. Okay. So the tiers we have here and the way I've broken this down is starting with the masterpieces. So the best of the best that I've read so far this year. We then have the really good tier, so books that are obviously really good but didn't quite make it to my favorites. We have the mid tier that, they were okay. They weren't a waste of my time, but they didn't leave a super lasting impression. We have the I guess tier, so wasn't a total waste of time, but definitely could have been skipped. And then we have the wasted time I'll never get back tier, which is just bottom of the barrel trash that I've read so far this year. And honestly, maybe not trash, but just books that I feel like were not worth the time spent reading them. Like I said, we have 65 books here. So, okay, and you can't really read a lot of these titles, or some of them, I guess. You can kind of tell what they are based on their cover. So the first book we have here is called The House of My Mother by Sherry Frankie. And if you're not aware, the Frankie family is or was a vlogging family. They used to be called the Eight Passengers YouTube channel, and they would vlog their family stuff, right? And this is one of the first books, I believe, to come out of a vlogging family. So these children are finally growing up. They're able to tell their stories of living in these family vlog type households. I do think that the Frankie family is a little bit different in the fact that they veered into cult territory, and they were a Mormon family. But Sherry Frankie's family got into a lot of really scary ideology and veered off of the Mormon path and more into this really scary, manipulative mindset. And I really enjoyed this book. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of these come out as these children grow up and are able to tell their own story. I don't think it was a masterpiece for me, but it was really good. So I'm going to put it in the really good tier. The next book we have up is Demon in White by Chris Rocchio. And the Sun Eater series has been a little hit or miss with me. Mostly a hit, and when I say miss, it just didn't quite live up to the hype. The writing is so good and so profound. Sometimes it feels a little drawn out though, and it feels a little slow. I love a journey, and I can look past that to a certain degree, but sometimes it feels like a little like, okay, let's get the ball rolling. But Demon in White was probably my favorite of the series so far. I loved it. It was a lot more action-packed. The stakes felt so high. And don't hate me, Sun Eater fans. I'm not going to put it in masterpiece, but I am going to put it at the front of really good for right now, because it was really good. Next up, we have Evocation by S.T. Gibson. This one was gifted to me, but I was really interested in it and I thought that it was going to be really fun. However, it ended up just being mid. It did not really hit for me. Some of the love triangle, it wasn't even a love triangle, it was a polyamorous relationship, which I think is really interesting to portray in fiction. I don't think we get a lot of that. However, it was odd and I wasn't that big of a fan. Next up, we have Symbiote by Michael Nayak. This one was also gifted to me by Angry Robot Books. I requested it. And this is a book based in the South Pole. And these researchers, basically a contagion reaches the South Pole Research Center. And it's kind of horror-esque. These infected researchers are attacking people on the base and they're trying to figure out what's going on. I liked it. I don't know that I'm going to put it in really good. It's probably going to go in mid for me, above Evocation. Um, I think it was his debut novel. Okay, not his debut novel, but I really liked his writing and I'm really interested in reading some of his other works because the concept was super interesting as well. Next up, we have Vinland Saga Volume 5 by Makoto Yukimura. And I have been getting into or trying to get a little bit more into manga because, like I've said in a previous video, my fiance is really into manga and he reads a lot of manga. Basically, anything you could think of, he's read it. And he's been collecting manga volumes, and I like reading the physical copies of mangas. So Vinland Saga is really interesting for me though because it's historical. So it brings a really interesting historical element to the story. Some of them are a bit slower. I did really enjoy volume 5 though, and I'm going to put this one in really good. Next, we have Grass by Sherry S. Tepper. I recently got a bunch of classic best of science fiction works, and I've been slowly making my way through them. And I really loved Grass. This one has stuck with me, and I've been thinking about it. I still think about it. It was just such an interesting concept, and the world was so cool. So honestly, I think I'm gonna have to put this one in masterpiece. And I don't even think I gave it 5 stars. I might have to go back and update my rating because sometimes you don't realize how impactful a book is on you until you sit with it for a while. And this one was really profound for me. Then we have The Man Who Fell to Earth by Walter Tevens. And this is another one of those classic science fiction books that I've read in my stint of reading like foundational science fiction. And if I'm being super truthful with y'all, I know I'm not the only one. I don't quite remember this one. It was short and I probably read it in a day, and that can always be really tricky, but I'm gonna have to put this one in mid. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, so I guess I enjoyed it, but I can't tell you too much about this one, unfortunately. We have Kingdoms of Death by Christopher Rocchio, which is the 4th in the Sun Eater series. And if I put Demon in White in the top of really good, then Kingdoms of Death is also going to have to go in really good because I really liked Demon in White. So I think we're gonna put it right after Demon in White. Next up, we got Vinland Saga Volume 7. And this one is gonna have to go. Yeah, I'm gonna move past my mother back there. Volume 7 is gonna have to go past Volume 5. I don't know where Volume 6 is in here, but it should be somewhere in here. But I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. And some of them, my thing with manga is I'm not a big battle person, and sometimes the themes in manga are very heavy-handed. Like I can infer some things, I don't need you to tell me everything. And I feel like that's kind of what happened in this one. Whenever they leave a little bit more up to interpretation, whenever the lesson of the story is a little bit more ambiguous, that's what I like. And I think this one was a little bit more battle heavy. So, wow. Next up, we have another manga, which is Frieren, which is one of my fiance's favorite animes and mangas of all time. And this one was so cute. I need to read more. We have more of these. I just feel a little, it sounds so silly, but sometimes I feel a little guilty reading manga because it seems like a cop out to add to my list. And I don't even necessarily, I wish that sometimes I wish I couldn't add it to my end of the year list. I guess I could remove it probably. I just read them because they're fun. It's a fun little reprieve in between stories that I'm reading or novels that I'm reading. This one I might have to put before Vinland Saga. I really liked Frieren. It was really cute. Next we have The Word is that's a tongue twister. The word for world is forest. Say that 3 times fast. The word for world is forest. The word for world is forest. The word for world is forest by Ursula K. Le Guin. This was another one of those classic science fiction books that I have, and I've tried to read Ursula K. Le Guin multiple times, and I want to love her. I do. And I respect what she's done for the fantasy and science fiction genre. But this one was mid for me, y'all. It was mid. It's a shorter story too. I think it's less than 300 pages. And I've read her Earthsea, the first of the Earthsea series. And yeah, sometimes it just doesn't hit, and that was the case for the word for world is forest. We're not gonna do Golden Fool yet because we haven't done Fool's Errand, which I did. I'll just go ahead and do Fool's Errand. So I read Fool's Errand by Robin Hobb, and this one was very slow. I think Robin Hobb's pretty notorious for a slower series. This is in the Tawny Man trilogy, so this is the third trilogy in the realm of the Elderlings. I loved the live ship traders so much, even more so than the Farseer trilogy. It was just everyone was so detestable. And I love that. I love getting angry. I love it when a book can give me a strong emotion, even if it's hate. Going back into like Fitz's world, I was a little nervous because I had recently come off of the live ship trader high. And so getting back into the Tawny Man, I was a little bit apprehensive. However, Fool's Errand was really good. It was very slow. There was a lot of buildup in this book, and it really didn't pick up until the last quarter, which again is fine. I think that Robin Hobb still somehow finds a way to make the mundane seem really interesting. However, I am going to put this at the top of really good because it wasn't quite a masterpiece for me. Next up, we have The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop, and I love a memoir. They're so fun, and Kelly Bishop is such a queen. She is so iconic, and her life is really interesting. I am gonna take it down here at really good. I do highly recommend it. Next up, we have Sins of Empire by Brian McClellan. I have already read the Mage Powder trilogy, and I really enjoy his writing. I just didn't like the way he portrayed some of the female characters. And as I was reading that trilogy, I was like, okay, maybe this next book it'll be better. And it wasn't. I was like, okay, maybe this next book it'll be better. And it wasn't. But the overall story was so cool. Like the magic system was so unique. I was a little apprehensive going to Gods of Blood and Power trilogy because of that, but I was like, okay, he's had some time. I've been told that he gets better about that. So I was going into this knowing I was probably already going to really enjoy the story, but a little bit apprehensive about his character writing. But this was so good. Like, I had so much fun with this book, and I haven't read any of the others in the trilogy yet just because I don't own them, and I'm finding it difficult to find a copy that matches my big paperback. And I'm really teetering on putting this in masterpiece, but I think it's gonna have to go behind Fool's Errand and really good. Next, we have Ashes of Man. So the fifth book in the Sun Eater series. And y'all have heard my spiel before. It's gonna go in really good behind the other ones because Kingdoms of Death and Ashes of Man are kind of head to head for me. The next one we have here is another manga. So it's Parasite by Hitachi Owaki. I think it's probably gonna have to go at the end here. Well, you know what? I might have to put it in mid just because again, the themes in this were a little heavy-handed for me. It was just kind of I don't know. It was like, whatever. Sure. We have Conclave by Robert Harris. I had obviously been hearing a lot about the movie, and one thing about me is I am going to prefer to read a book over watch a movie. Reading books is my main form of content. I used to watch the series Borgia, not the Borgias, but it's like the classic Borgia show. I can't remember what it aired on. It was on Netflix for a while. Yeah, so not the Borgias that's on Hulu, but Borgia that was on Netflix at some point. I don't think Netflix produced it though. Oh, it was created by Tom Fontana for Canal Plus in Sky Italia. Okay, whatever. But there's this one season where they basically held a conclave, and I was really interested in that. So I think the twist in this was really good as well. And I have so much in really good, y'all. Will I have any in the last years? You know what? I will. I see some. But I'm going to put Conclave probably in here, I think. We have Fairy Tale by Stephen King. My sister gifted me this book. She really enjoyed it. I haven't read too much of Stephen King. I think this was my second Stephen King novel. The other one being the JFK book, whatever that one is called. I just didn't. It wasn't. It was too long. You know what? No, we're gonna leave it in, I guess, because I don't think it was wasted time. It was just a very long book, and it was quite boring, to be truthful with you. Okay, we got Vinland Saga 8, which I also really enjoyed. We're gonna stick that there. We have Kitchen Confidential by Anthony Bourdain, another memoir. This one was really interesting. It was cool to see insights into the restaurant industry. And I think again we're gonna place this in really good, probably at the end here because sometimes it was a little dry. But then we have Record of a Spaceborne Few by Becky Chambers. Y'all, I'm a Becky Chambers stan. I love her. She makes me cry every single time I read one of her books. I am just obsessed with her. This one didn't quite reach really good status for me, but I still really enjoyed it, and I think I'm gonna have to put it up at the top of the really good section. Okay, Vinland Saga Volume 6. It was about the same as the others, so we're just gonna keep them clumped together. Yet another memoir. We have Careless People. It's a long title. Let me read it. Careless People, A Cautionary Tale of Power, Greed, and Lost Idealism by Sarah Wynne Williams. And she was the Facebook whistleblower. This was really insightful into the politics and how Facebook played a role in politics. And also, it really shined a light on Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know, this one was really good. I think it's the really good tag, I guess. We're gonna put this here. Okay, we have The Game at Carousel Book 1 by Rob M. Lestrell. And I think that one of the other ones in this series for me was a masterpiece for this year. This one, however, is going to be placed probably in here because it kind of reimagined lit RPG for me and what can be done with lit RPG. It was really cool. We next have Beware of Chicken by Casual Farmer, which is another lit RPG. Honestly, y'all, I might put this at the top of mid just because I'm not a big cultivation fan. And although this had a unique spin on the cultivation genre, it still had cultivation elements. And I do like slice of life as well, but sometimes it was a little too slice of lifey. I don't know. Like, that's not a very good reasoning, but we're going to leave it there. We have Golden Fool by Robin Hobb. And this one's going to have to go into masterpiece for me. Truly. It was so good. And Robin Hobb, I'm a Robin Hobb stan for life. What can I say? We have The Age of Myth by Michael J. Sullivan, which is the first book in the Legends of the First Empire, which is the prequels to the Rieria Revelations. They were good, but they were a little slow. I think I'm gonna put Age of Myth in mid. I recommend you read them, but I said in my previous video, I said that I don't think it really matters which one you start with. I really do think you should start with the Rieria Revelations because it really draws you in and it interests you into learning more about the lore. I can see someone reading this first and not wanting to continue with the rest of the books in this world. We have Jake's Magical Market. This is gonna go in, I guess. Half of that book was just not good. The later half was not good. Age of Swords was, I'm just gonna stick that in mid with Age of Myth, the second book in the Legends of the First Empire series. Next we have More Not the Mortals by my Bookstagram friend Jordan Smith, and I enjoyed this, and it was kind of giving, I mean, it was definitely grimdark and it was reminding me a lot of Joe Abercrombie. So I'm going to stick this at the end of the really good section. We have Guards in the Garden by Z.S. de Monte, and this is a slice of life. A guard doesn't decide, he gets an injury and has to live a calmer life, and it's him grappling with that fact and how to change his life in order to suit where he is at that time. And I'm going to put this in really good. And then we have Fool's Fate by Robin Hobb, which is the last of the Tawny Man trilogy. It's got to go into masterpiece. My girl knows how to end a series for sure. Beautiful. We got Age of War, which is another one in the Legends of the First Empire. We have The Trouble with Peace by Joe Abercrombie. Masterpiece. No other words. It's so good. It was so good. I want to read it again. It was so good. And then we have The Devils by Joe Abercrombie, and I'm scared I'm going to be burned at the stake, but I just didn't really vibe with it. So that's going in mid. The Game at Carousel, book 2, really good. And I'm going to actually put it in front of book 1. Loved it. Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers. So good. Yeah, that's gonna have to go in masterpiece for me. We're gonna stick it at the end here. Actually, it'll go in front of Grass. Love her. Carousel book 3. You know, I don't think I'm gonna put it in masterpiece, but I am gonna put it in really good. Wisdom of Crowds by Joe Abercrombie. Even before The Trouble with Peace. So good. Love Joe Abercrombie. Love Age of Madness, I guess, because I did just rank The Devils in mid. So we have Age of Legend, which is another one in the Legend of the First Empire. Vinland Volume 9 was good, and I liked it right about there. Age of Death, sticking it in mid. That was book, how many wounds of 5 of the Legend of the First Empire. And then I read Blade Runner, which is not Blade Runner. Do Sheep's Dream of Electric Sheep, right? Do Android's Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. It's the first Philip K. Dick I've read, and this is another one of those classic ones that I've been reading. I liked it, but I think I'm going to put it in mid. And then Age of Empire, which is the last of the Legends of the First Empire. Then another manga, we have Delicious Dungeon, and I'm gonna have to put this in really good, probably at the end here. It was a cute little story about adventurers going into a dungeon to find things to cook and find new recipes to make. Bog Standard Isekai, I really liked. I don't know that it was quite a masterpiece for me, but I think I'm going to put it after the third book in the Game at Carousel. Ice Planet Barbarians, y'all. I kind of want to put it in Waste of Time I'll Never Get Back, but it was so short, so it's like, does it even really matter? I think, so ridiculous. I think I'm going to put it at the end of I Guess. You know what? I'm going to put it at the beginning of I Guess. Ranking that book over Stephen King is kind of crazy. Stoner by John Williams surprised me, and I loved this. I'm gonna pop it up here in masterpiece. One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This by Omar L. Codd was so heart-wrenching. Truly think it is such an important read though. So I'm going to stick it after Joe Abercrombie here in masterpiece. Hunger Games Volume 1, I listened to this on audiobook recently and I had a really good time. I thought it still held up, and I'm gonna stick it at the end of really good. We have The Dragon Keeper by Robin Hobb, which is book 1 in the Rainwild Chronicles, and I had heard some really bad things about this series, and although I don't think it's one of her stronger works, I still really, really liked it. And it's gonna have to go to the top of really good. I think even before Fool's Errand, to be truthful. Same thing with this one. So I actually mixed these two up. This is Dragon Keeper, and that's gonna go there. And this is book 2, which is Dragon Haven, which I also really enjoyed. People were like, it's like a soap opera, but I thought it portrayed women and women's relationships really well. It's one of the few romance-esque storylines that I've really felt drawn to personally. With Catching Fire, which I'm just gonna have to put in mid, y'all. I was not impressed. I remember really loving that book, and I personally think it's probably the best movie, but the book just did not resonate with me. City of Dragons, which is the third in the Rain Wild Chronicles. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take this fourth one and pop it right in there. Also very good. I cannot wait to read the last trilogy in the Realm of the Elderling series, but I'm also so sad to finish it. We have the second book in Bog Standard Isekai. I think it's called Scarred, and I'm going to put that right after the first one. Mockingjay, y'all, I might just have to put it down and wasted time I'll never get back. I was just not impressed, to say the least. I was ready for it to be over, for sure. Parasite Volume 8, I'm gonna put with 7, I think. The ending, you know what? I'm actually gonna stick it at the end. You know what? I'm gonna put it in I guess. Because the ending, I felt like was left up to interpretation. And then I'm reading the after notes from the author, and he basically just tells you what happens, which is not what I thought what happened. So I'm obviously going to be pissed about that. We have The Handmaid's Tale, which masterpiece. Masterpiece. I didn't know that I would gain anything from it since I've seen the TV show in its entirety. And the writing in that is just so good and so poignant. So I'm going to have to put that there. We have Testaments. I really don't think this was necessary. Um, I'm gonna have to put it in, I guess. Isles of the Emberdark by Brandon Sanderson. The reading experience of this one was really good because I have the special edition, so like half of the book is black, like it has black pages, which I've never read anything like that. And this book had me glued to my phone, constantly on the wiki, confirming things and fact checking things and lore checking. I had a really fun time with this one, and I don't think I'm gonna put it in masterpiece, but I will put it at the top of really good. And Abercrombie's A Little Hatred, I'm going to put in really good. It wasn't quite a masterpiece like the second two were, but I still really enjoyed it. And then I just finished Riri Revelations. I'm gonna have to put Heir of Novron in masterpiece. It was maybe the best book I've read all year. Ugh. Y'all, Age of Madness was so good. So I don't even know. Yeah, we're gonna leave it here. And then Rise of Empire and Theft of Swords. You know what? Rise of Empire is actually gonna go masterpiece as well. And Theft of Swords, which is book 2. No, Theft of Swords is book 1. Book 2, I didn't really enjoy quite as much. But 1 and 3 were amazing. So this is where I'm at as of September 2nd in the year of our Lord 2025. I've read quite a few books, and a lot of them have been really good. I didn't know where I was going to place these going into this. I didn't really look too deeply into it. So I'm surprised how top heavy this tier list is, if I'm being truthful. It makes me feel like I'm being too generous, but I really have read a lot of good books this year. So I hope this maybe gives you some insight and maybe gives you some ideas. Otherwise, I'd love to hear where you're at in the year, whether it's 2 books or 120. And I'm excited to see what else I read this year. And I'm hoping it's all just as good, but sometimes that is not the case. Anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you for watching as always.